It's a movie with many themes going on.
I think they've done a fantastic job of really creating a unique look.
I used to be an illustrator, so for me, making the movie on paper first is essential.
Marcus's forte is for painting a picture, and there's no element in the frame that goes unnoticed or untouched.
Vikings come in with all this fog behind them. They add that darkness to this movie that I just love.
I think originally in concept they were kind of dark, bulky, huge silhouettes.
You have to raid costume houses like the Vikings did to piece things together, and we would put them together in new ways. And at the end, you wind up with something that you might not have even originally envisioned. You know, that has nothing to do with your original ambitions, but it becomes something new and something special.
What we have is probably more imagination than truth, but, you know, it is a movie. We'll always default to the dramatic. Visually, it is astounding, though, when you see all of the ornamentation on these guys' helmets.
When you make a Viking movie, the question always arises, did they have horns or not? And Vikings most likely didn't have horns.
Which is a popular myth about that probably dates back to the Ring Cycle and Wagner's opera. They probably invented it.
We felt, look, we're going to take contrivances with it, but there will be our contrivances. It's not going to be Wagnerian, it's not going to be Hagar, but you know, we will take some liberties.
This is more mythology than archaeology. They didn't have horns, but so what? You know, not all Indians had feathers either.
We take license with the Vikings, but we're going to do something very authentic with the Indians.
You don't really have to try that hard to make them look cool. I mean, you really don't. I mean, what you have to get away from, obviously, is the kind of John Ford look. They had been here for thousands of years, fine-tuning their culture. They were really interesting, and they were amazing. You know, costumes that I don't think we could recreate today. You know, beaded work with all these intricate designs from top to bottom.
What do you see?
Prophecy is coming to fulfillment.
You know, sort of borrowing from Frazetta and Boris Vallejo and all these kind of artists then made me think that, look, we should do our own graphic novel. I met Christopher Scheibeck then, and I sat down with him and I said, how do we make this ours?
Well, I think from the very beginning, he wanted to make a graphic novel based on the script. A lot of the problems that you run into in the filmmaking process, you run into with graphic novels. When you approach the script, you realize you're like, okay, I have to figure out the pacing. You know, I've broken this thing down, and this doesn't work.
We wound up working on certain scenes simultaneously. He would paint it while I was shooting it, and then we would show each other the goods. And it was amazing how much we were in each other's head, just in the whole tonality and the whole feel of it.
The bear sequence in the cave, I would say, was one that we both nailed almost exactly the same way from the very beginning. We had done exactly the same thing. We had almost cut it exactly the same way. There wasn't a lot to go on in the script in terms of exactly, you know, how everything happens, but we had managed to kind of fill in the gaps artistically in the same fashion.
In a way, it was like really finding a soulmate in that. It was an incredible experience to actually do something simultaneously. It was fun.
Everybody has kind of done their best to, you know, come up with a look and aesthetic that has a truth about it.
I felt when I walked in, I believed it. I believe this could be where these characters are from.
It's very cinematic. We put a lot of time and energy into it. It's one of those things that we knew the kind of audience that was going to get into this. We knew right away that the movie was going to go with a little bit of a harsher approach to the portrayal of Vikings and First Nation and the battle that ensued between those two. So we wanted to really capture that feeling. I think that there's a lot there for fans to get into.